Welcome to the London Property Podcast. I'm Marius Nazare.
I'm Chris Mulry.
And this is vlog number 12. We're going to start off with news of the week. Interestingly enough, I saw an article come out this morning which talks about how new property listings are down almost 9,000 as the Boris Bounce takes its time. So 2 weeks ago, I think we mentioned how there's so much positivity in the news and we've got this big bang coming and, so many things happening. But the reality is, and I think we did say 2 or 3 weeks ago when we did vlog 10, I believe, take this with a pinch of salt. The reality is different. The fact is new listings and sellers, it's going to take some time for all this positivity actually translate into new properties coming onto the market, sellers having the confidence to put their property onto the market. And now we've got this article which kind of reinforces what we did say. It's great. Yes, we do have more buyers in the market, but the reality is we haven't really seen a big increase of listings actually coming onto the market, ready to be sold. We've seen I guess the first 2 weeks we saw an increase in market appraisals. Half of them were probate, for probate purposes. But the reality is, like we said 2 weeks ago, it will take 3 to 6 months for us to actually see any kind of substantial increase in the number of listings. What is interesting in this article, it's actually 9,000 less properties on the market than the same period last year. So it's actually, even more difficult than it was this time in 2019. And it just shows, this is especially affected London greatly, but it does show that what we did say 2-3 weeks ago, it's actually, true. We do have more of a positivity in the market. We have more confident buyers and buyers who are actually in the market are ready to buy. But the problem is there isn't really the right kind of properties for them. So just wanted to mention this because it is important to be very, balanced in our approach when we see what's happening in the market. It's very easy to get carried away. And I think our duty as professionals in the property industry is to make sure that people are aware of what is actually happening. Because if you just read the headlines, you can really get the wrong impression. And that, can affect you in many ways. You can have unrealistic expectations when you look to sell a property, or if you're a buyer, you are completely clueless as to what is actually happening in the market. So this is just a testament of what we said 2 weeks ago. So very interesting.
My news article, I'm going to talk about agents must educate sellers about realistic prices.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think it's quite easy for sellers to get a little bit carried away with what they've been hearing in the news, all the positivity coming through the market, that it's booming and everything else. So quite naturally, people who are listing their properties or people who've already had them on, all of a sudden want more money for them. So we've had that on several occasions before. And not so much that the market has kind of boomed and come back in any significant amount. It has got slightly busier, but it's an estate agent's job to actually tell people where the market actually lies. Fundamentally, the figures, in terms of percentage terms of value, haven't really changed that much at all. So it is difficult when you get a lot of this positivity coming through the media to retain people's expectations and just say, look, because there's so much hysteria out there with regarding to the market is booming and everything else. We're getting some news like what you've just said coming through, which isn't so much so. There was predictions made that there would be a huge amount of properties coming on the market, and it's completely the opposite. So that's for an estate agent's job to advise their clients, because it's not just us bringing a buyer and achieving a sale. We need to give the right advice in order to achieve a sale over a specific period of time and extract the most amount that seller can expect to get out of their property. That's our job. And sometimes when sellers don't listen and they think they've got their own view and opinion of what things are worth, then 6 to 12 months later they realise that they're wrong. They do need to listen to professional advice, and it's quite interesting to see an article out there saying that agents really do need to be telling their clients where to be at with their price. And we've got another article here as well, which is it's about online estate agents, and it says that they fail once again to push the market share above 5%. So over the past several years, people were telling me I'm going to be out of a job at some point soon because online agents are going to take over the whole of the market. I think there was thoughts that they were going to be 50% of market share and the whole industry was going to change. Purple Bricks have had some real issues, and they've had to make structural changes in their company to kind of, keep afloat. Have they even made a profit yet? I'm not sure. But it shows that all in all of the online agencies, all collectively combined, are struggling to push anywhere beyond 5%. And that's UK-wide, right? If we look at just London, I don't know
what the percentage is, but
I mean, do you know any online agent who's got any listing anywhere around central London?
Not really, no. I mean, it just shows that you need to,
it's not even anywhere close to 1%, is it? I mean, I can't even think of an online agency who's got anything. And the reality is this: it's very simple. People this might sound quite patronising in a way, but I think people who understand the value of service, like, let's put it this way, right? You've got a nice haircut, Marius.
Thank you.
When you go to the hairdressers, right?
Yeah.
You don't pick up the scissors and start cutting your own hair, do you?
No, I do let a professional do it, just because otherwise, if I started doing it myself, it would be an absolute mess.
And right, so that's when you're cutting your hair, but when you're selling the most expensive property, one of the most expensive assets that you're ever going to own, your own home, do you really want to make a hash of it? Because if you make a hash of it, we're talking about potentially tens and thousands of pounds for getting the negotiation wrong. Maybe even hundreds of thousands of pounds. So let a professional deal with it who's got a lot of industry experience, and if they're good at what they're doing, they will extract the best price possible, and they'll be worth their weight. Like any advisor, it's like if you use a solicitor to facilitate a transaction for you, if you skimp around and you pick a lawyer who's some cheap conveyancing lawyer based up in, I don't know,
above a kebab shop
in wherever, somewhere like in the coast, and they're selling something in Mayfair, it's not gonna work. They're gonna cause you a problem. So pay for good professional advice. I think this news article goes to show that I think a lot of people are understanding that if they do use an online agent, they maybe aren't getting the best results. Where these online agents are doing quite well is up north.
Smaller property values.
That are more easy to value. Like maybe a 4-bedroom house on a particular street is 100 grand. Maybe it's 102 grand. Maybe 100. You know roughly what it's worth, and there's not that much value. But if you're selling something in London where the values could range depending on which valuation you get, 100 grand this way, 100 grand that way, like an agent is going to make sure that they can push and get you the upper end of the thing. So trying to pay 500 quid or 700 quid for Purple Bricks or something like that in London is just not good economical sense, in my opinion. And there's the research which suggests it, and they're struggling to get more than 5%. That's probably it. They're probably kind of tapped out at that level.
Yeah, what they have done, these online agencies, I guess they have in a way pushed traditional estate agencies to evolve and improve some of the services and some of the platforms that have been used. So it's not all bad, but the reality is these online platforms will never be able to replace people and the service that a human-to-human interaction and connection happens when a transaction is made, or when you're marketing or selling a property. The truth is, you're dealing with people here, people's emotions, people's egos, and all of these things at the same time. So I don't think, like you said, the market share of these online estate agents is going to changed dramatically above 5%, but what it has done is certainly, forced traditional estate agencies to rethink some of the websites and some of the platforms, how we market, how we sell. So it's not all bad news, and obviously the industry has evolved with the help of these up and coming platforms, but matter of fact is it's still people's kind of industry, and people are more important than ever. The trust that people have in you, what advice you give, which again, it's not something you can really extract to the same depth online as you would by meeting somebody, sitting down for a coffee or dinner, and really, discussing strategies and all these things. So it just shows the statistic is there, 5%, below 5% market share for how many years now. So,
and also what I would say is these online agents, they don't have, from what I understand anyway, I've never worked in an online agency, but from what I understand, they list somebody's property online. Those inquiries are then fed through to either the seller to deal with them themselves, or maybe they can pay extra for a booking service for somebody to actually book them, do the viewings and bring them round. But the thing is, right, we've got a property on the market around the corner. It's had, I think, one inquiry over the past few months. The price is a bit high. The seller wants a big price for it. That's why it's only got one inquiry. We've taken around there 19 people so far. Now, if he had that property listed online with an online agent,
he would remain with one viewing, I guess, and
even
one inquiry.
if they were motivated to get that person booked in.
Yeah, exactly.
Agents, what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, one, they've got their portfolio of applicants who are looking for similar price properties in the area.
Right.
They can suggest it. If they're out on a viewing, they can, with an applicant, they can say, hey, why don't you also come and have a look at this, and try to kind of make things happen and push things. It's very, very rare that somebody will call in regarding a property that they want to buy and actually go ahead and buy it. They normally inquire about something, and then they get there and they realize, oh, I didn't realize it, had this view, or I didn't realize this or that, I'm not interested. But the reason they inquired about it was because they thought it looked good on paper or value. And then there's always some compromise, and it's for an agent to explain to them, well, look, the reason that this is priced in this way is because of this, and if you want something which doesn't have that compromise, I've got this flat up here, but it's £100,000 more expensive because of the view or whatever, and make them realise, understand, and then try and help direct them, and that's how agents build their value when coming to do a transaction. And I think often, well, obviously clients in London understand it, but like whoever these 5% are who are using online agencies, and I hear the marketing spin all the time from Purple Bricks, which is saying, we have estate agents working for us. I mean, I don't.
It's not the same thing.
No.
Yeah, we expect that to remain the same, but it just shows again the importance of using professionals to market, sell your property, buy a property. So, yeah, that was great news articles, and great analogy with the hairdresser. Right, on to sale of the week. So this is an off-market property which we just recently agreed. It's close to the Royal Albert Hall, so incredible location in Knightsbridge, just south of the Hyde Park. You are looking at something which is a 5-bedroom property, incredible ceiling heights, incredible period features. It is a grade 2 listed property. It looks incredible from the inside. It is a development opportunity, so whoever, well, the client, the buyers who are buying this, they're going to have to completely refurbish it and make it into something incredible. I confidently think by the time they're done with the refurbishment, we can probably achieve record selling price for this kind of property. It is a trophy asset. We can't really disclose too much information now, but it's something that we've recently agreed. It's in the region of 5.5 million that we've agreed it for, so very close to the asking price. The seller is very happy, the buyers are super happy and very motivated, and it's an incredible 3,000 square feet property, incredible location, and I think once this is fully refurbished to a really high standard, you won't really get anything like it in that kind of location. So we do expect once it's refurbished to kind of sell it very quickly to one of these ultra high net worth individuals. So that's our sale of the week. Like I said, we'll put some photos, but there isn't really much specific information that we can talk about it, other than that it is an off-market property. We've sold it off-market. The seller was considering putting it on the market over the next couple of weeks, so we were very motivated to find buyers for this before it actually came onto the market. We did, and it's a great sale for us. So now we just have to make sure that everything goes smoothly, as it often happens. Part of our job is great. Yes, we can close these, we can get things agreed, but that's really 20% of the work. A lot of the work happens after a sale is agreed, dealing with solicitors, with buyers, sellers, etc. So it's a journey in itself for each sale we do, but we're very pleased, and to do it off market in the space of 2.5 weeks is really good for us. So that's sale of the week. Now going on to question of the week. Okay, we've got Abdullah here asking, I am looking to buy a property near Hyde Park, so in our patch of operation. Do I pay a fee to an estate agent to buy property here? So what would you say to that, Chris, to Abdullah?
Well, I would say, Abdullah, if you're looking to buy through our agency or any of the properties that we've got listed, you don't need to pay any fee at all, because our client is the seller. And most people will just be completely happy with that. That's how it works in the UK. Any estate agent that you go, you don't need to pay a fee. However, you can pay a fee if you want to retain us. So say, for example, you want to retain me and Marius to look for a property for you out in the market. We can't offer you any of our clients' properties, but you can retain us for a fee as a retained search, and we can go out into the market and go and look at any property that you want, and we'll advise for you on what the best thing is for you to buy. I'd say most of the time people don't want a retained search, and they just want to do it because it's free to do, but you can do it either way. The reality is we can only take fees on one side of the transaction, so we either work for the client who's selling the property, and that's mostly what we do as agents. But on very specific occasions, if we've got a client of ours who wants us to look after them and guide them through the process and advise on what to buy, we can be retained by them. We don't take on that many of those searches because it does take up a lot more of our time, and we've mainly are dealing with a big portfolio of stuff that we're selling here. So it's very different than other countries overseas. I think we mentioned about 2 or 3 weeks ago again in one of the vlogs, where in Europe sometimes the buyers pay fees for the agent, whereas in the UK the selling agent can only take fee from one side. So if we're getting our fee from the sellers, we cannot charge the buyers any fee. And conversely, if we are retained in a search to kind of represent and find a property as a buying agent, then we won't be able to take a fee from the sellers. So Abdullah, to answer your question simply, anything that we have on the books, no, you don't pay us a fee, so we'll be happy to obviously assist you. So it's kind of like a free service. But yeah, it's very different than in the UK than other markets, so it's good news. So drop by in the office and we'll be happy to show you what listings we have. All right, that concludes vlog number 12. We are in February already. Wow, we've already 1 month gone out of 12. So we'll put all the links in the descriptions. If you do have any questions or need any advice, or want to get in touch with us, obviously you can connect with us on all the social media platforms, LinkedIn, whatnot. Again, links in the descriptions, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Take care. Bye. Bye.